Hi, I'm Jennifer Elizabeth Masters. I am a soul sculptor. I help people break the mold of past trauma, heartbreak, to live the life of their dreams. Now, today's subject is one that not a lot of people are talking about until after the fact, and I am wanting to shed some light on suicidal thoughts, ideation, and suicidal prevention. I have been wanting to do this video for several months, and I hesitated because it is such a sensitive subject. And I've worked with quite a number of people, helping them recover from suicidal ideation. And I will tell you what, the kinds of things that I've done. But first of all, I just want to share with you my own grandfather, on my mother's side, took his life. He was in his 30s, and my mother was 5 years old at the time. So, we all have had experiences with someone. Now, I wasn't alive at the time. Hello, Star. I wasn't alive at the time, but I'm still impacted by the story of, my grandfather committing suicide. Now, I'll tell you what he did. My mother was a very sensitive child, and she woke up in the middle of the night, and she said, Daddy, what are you doing? And he says, shh, go back to sleep. And they were in a very small house, and he climbed up the ladder to the attic where they had this huge bag of sugar, and he poisoned himself. And so he was in the kitchen. That's where he was found the next morning. And my mother knew. At 5 years old, she knew what had happened. So why do people commit suicide? Why do people feel the need to want to take their life? Now, I will tell you that back in 1998, I was in the middle of building a new house. I was staying with my husband and my little girl in a little cottage on Lake Blue Ridge while we were building our house in Alpharetta. Now, for all the outward reasons, I should have been happy. I had a little girl that I dreamed of having, but my two sons were living in Colorado, and I was devastated. I love my boys. I love all of my family. And it was really, really hard for me to be away from my kids. And anyway, what I will say is I was driving home one night in my car, and these voices in my head said to me, just drive off the road. Just keep on driving. There was one of those, those orange signs, the checkerboard that shows you the end of the road. Well, it was the end of the road, and these voices in my head were telling me, drive off the road, keep on driving. And I knew those voices were not me. I knew those voices were some other being, not myself. It wasn't my ego mind. These voices were not me. So I can tell you that for a fact. So when life gets challenging and we feel like we've hit a wall, we may have experienced some issue with drugs or alcohol, or some horrible life event where we feel like a freaking failure, and we feel like, what is my life worth? I am better off dead. I'm an embarrassment to my children, to my family, to my parents. I'm an embarrassment to the world. That's not true. So I'm here to tell you that is not true. We need you here. And the work that I do today is, it's a deep energy clearing. I clear past lives where suicide was not just prevalent but happened. So I'll tell you another story. My daughter had a friend she was friends with in Colorado, and when we were living in California, She attempted suicide, I think, a number of 12 times. 12 times. And she was, I think, 15, maybe 16. Her father attempted suicide. So often, this type of behavior is seen. We witness it in someone else. And it's not contagious, but what I will say is that the dark energies that are associated with someone who is feeling suicidal can jump on other people and can affect other people. And of course, depression can run in families too. If your mom was depressed or your dad had depression, it is quite likely that you'll have depression as well. If you're depressed, it is very likely that your spouse or your partner is also depressed. It's not contagious. That's not what it is. But when we are near someone that is experiencing depression, we're impacted by the energies attached to them. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So, with my daughter's friend, I checked and I asked when I did my clearing, how many lifetimes of suicide have there been? And in the past, she had had 30 different lifetimes where she had taken her own life. And there are many reasons why we might take our own life. We may, we may have been raped or molested and feel shame. We may be feeling like an intense failure. We may be feeling like we're another mouth to feed for our family, and we're just not worth being here. And none of those things are true. So when I cleared the past lives for her, I finished the clearing and I checked, and I know she was free of that suicidal ideation. And since that time, we know, because we've checked on her, she's gotten married and she's living a happy life. Now, I will also say that her boyfriend that she was extremely attached to overdosed, and whether he committed suicide or not. So that happened, which caused her to be terribly depressed. Of course, she was a teenager. Having someone close to you when you're a teenager die, it's a tremendous trauma. It's huge. So we've got to have empathy for those that are depressed. We have to listen. But what I will say is there are very few signs that someone is suicidal. There may be, if they are spending a lot of money, extravagant, or giving their precious items away. Those things could be possible. But for the people that I know, there was no outward sign. I worked with a woman in Los Angeles who was suicidal. And when her sister asked me to do a session with her. So while I was on the phone with her, she just couldn't be on the phone with me. And I could taste vodka in my mouth. I'm an empath. I pick up on what other people are experiencing. And in fact, I have no solar plexus chakra. It's vacant. So when I'm working on someone, I step into their field energetically and I feel what they feel. When I was just with a client a moment ago, and when I just started to move into her energy field, I started to cry. And that happens because I am in their field. I'm feeling what they feel. So I feel that intensity. I feel that anguish, that feeling like they're such a pain in the ass that they don't deserve to be here. And again, what I want to tell you is there is help, there is hope, and we need you here. So what I will say is I have some programs which I'm going to be offering on a website called Kajabi. And I've already created these 2 audios that clear suicidal ideation. They're very deep and powerful clearings, and so they're going to be available very soon. But for those people that are feeling suicidal, I just want to tell you please reach out to me. Send me an email, jenniferelizabethmasters@gmail.com. I will gift you one of these. There is no need for you to be in this state. And I want you to know that I care very deeply. I am here for this reason, because I've had that horrible feeling. I've experienced it. And that was when I became a hypnotherapist. So I knew when I hit the wall that I needed to do something. I had a little girl. My daughter was, I think she was under 3 at the time. And so I became a hypnotherapist after I had the session that removed the spirit that was causing me to have those thoughts and feelings. So it is not you. It's an attached spirit. And there are those spirits out there. They're called disembodied spirits. They didn't go to the light. They're stuck. And so they go to hosts, and they don't care about you at all. They could care less. And they gather your life force through your fear and your anguish. They love that. Okay, so I know it's a really heavy subject, but it's one that we need to talk about because, okay, so I'm being guided. So where does suicide come from? I have to tell you where it comes from. So oftentimes when we've been sexually molested, whether it's a man or a woman, whether we're female or male, it doesn't matter who molests us. If we've been raped, if we've been abused, if we've been battered and berated and criticized and feel like we are worthless and that there's no reason for us to be here because nobody cares. So all of those reasons can cause us to be suicidal. And how long does it take to clear suicide? It could be one session. And with the attorney in Los Angeles that ended up getting off the phone, she was unable to care for her daughter. She had to extricate herself from the law practice she was at. And she took time off, and I cleared her. I cleared her 3 times, and she's never looked back. Now, for some people, it's once. So there is help, and this is the work that I do. I am a coach, I'm a healer, I'm a hypnotherapist, but the biggest thing is that I'm an advocate of life. And I'm here to tell you from someone who it's now been it's been nearly 20 years since that happened to me. And I'm so glad I'm here because my life is productive and I'm using the wisdom that I learned from my own experience to help other people. I have such empathy for people with depression. I was depressed for well over 30 years and no one saw it. And I was depressed for so long that it even when I said something to my mother, she said, oh nonsense, you're not depressed. And children, yes, can be depressed. So children exhibit depression in different ways than adults do. Children have a tendency to show irritability. That is the way they show depression. They may not want to eat, or they may be overeating, but children show signs of depression in a lot of different ways than adults do. Okay, so where do we go from here? So there is life after addiction, and drugs and alcohol can certainly lower our vibration enough to make us feel very depressed. I've had some clients who've had children that have overdosed, and it's a horrible thing to lose a child. And so if you have a child that has had these types of experiences where they've hit the wall, don't wait. Don't wait till it's too late to have this, energy clearing for them. I can clear people in absentia. In other words, they don't have to be on the phone with me. I ask for their soul's permission and can clear them remotely. And it doesn't matter where you are. So Star, thank you. She says, your work is amazing and I've experienced positive outcomes in my life from them. Yes, thank you, Star, for saying that. So for people that are sleeping endless hours and can't get out of bed, there's hope for you. And this is part of the work that I do. There will soon be on my website a package for people with depression. It's going to be very reasonable. I think it's something like $11. Why? Because I don't want money to be an issue for you. It is just as powerful to listen to the audio. And you can, the people that have this depression audio and the depression level 2, it's alleviate depression level 2. I clear suicidal programs and ideation. And I've heard very good results from these audios. People say that they have been life-changing. So if you have someone that is depressed, a loved one. I had a man recently, he lost his wife and was terribly depressed. I did one session with him, and let me just tell you, he got my book, Orgasm for Life. This man has been in a sexless marriage for, 40 years. He was in this marriage. He had sex for the first 2. Now, he was terribly depressed, as you can imagine. Very little pleasure in his life. And he grieved when his wife died. But now I will say, this man had this energy clearing. He's read my books, and he is now in a very happy relationship. So there is a time for you. It is never too late. It's never too late to have happiness and joy. So I have a self-love quiz on my website that will help you. There is a depression quiz, Am I Depressed, or How Depressed Am I? That is going to be out very soon on my website, JenniferElizabethMasters.com. My email, if you need to reach out to me personally, and no one else reads my email but me. Don't send any dick pics or any videos. I don't want to see them. I've had enough of those. Thanks, guys. My email address is JenniferElizabethMasters@gmail.com. You can also contact me here on Facebook or on my website. Okay, let's just see what we've got here. Thank you, Kathy Claudino. Thank you. It's been a while since we've talked. So everyone, I want you to know that this is my vocation. It is, that is the core of the work I do. I have been depressed. I know what it feels like. I have tremendous empathy for you and love for you. And you are enough. You are worthy. And there is so much life waiting for you on the other side of this. I have blog articles on my website, and if you Google free clearings, there are free clearings out there. Free clearings with Jennifer Elizabeth Masters. And on YouTube, if you subscribe to my channel, I have a little energy clearing on my depression. It's depression and overwhelm. There's an energy clearing there. So please do share this with your friends and know that suicide does not have to happen. It is not the only choice. You are needed here. You are needed here. You are worthy, you are enough, and you are loved. You wouldn't have been created if you weren't supposed to be here. So what I'm going to tell you, because I've continued to deal with some challenging issues throughout my life. It's always ever onward and upward. We're constantly going to be working on ourselves. Post-enlightenment, we still have work to do. Once we wake up, it does not mean that the party's over. No, it's just beginning. The party's just started. And I have this vision, and if you hold this vision with me, I see myself doing live events where I touch you here on the third eye, And it's a new healing modality that has been downloaded recently. And I touch you in the third eye, and the depression just dissolves. So hold that vision for me to be doing these public events and being able to touch you and heal you in the moment. And, we're all guided to do different work, and this is mine. And I'm just sending you all so much love. And please do read my blog posts on my website. Listening to my audios, my voice heals. So I've been told this is not something coming from my ego. This is what I've been told. I've been designed to heal with my voice. So listening to my audios will help you heal. Sending you so much love and compassion. I know how you feel, and you don't have to stay in this place. So please do listen to my audios with the energy clearings. They will help you tremendously.